Why are China's gas prices higher than the US?
If you has enough and sustainable demand, then how can you expect the price fall?
How can we make sense of current gas prices?
The cost of the crude oil is less than 60%.
What policy should we expect if China moves towards a more energy-efficient economy?
I would like to expect the full reform and deregulation with the energy sector.
Hello and welcome to the Main Talk. I'm your host, Pan Xiaoli. Now, it's been over a month since the controversial fuel tax reform took effect on January the 1st. In addition to the new move, a fuel pricing mechanism was also set. And for car owners, the new system for pricing petrol plays an increasingly important role in their future fuel consumption.
After China decided to cut its benchmark retail gas and diesel prices, oil giants began an intense competition by lowering prices in big cities. In early February, Shanghai had the lowest gas price in China. Take 93-octane gasoline, for example. Its price stood at 4.66 yuan per liter, the lowest among prices in Shanghai. Compared with the price of gas before the pricing war, it fell by about 23%. How can we make sense of the current fluctuating fuel prices? How much will the new fuel pricing mechanism impact China's energy conservation?
And to discuss these issues, we caught up with Wu Libo, Executive Director of the Center for Energy Economics and Strategy Studies at Fudan University.
Wu Libo is an expert on the international petroleum market and energy-related environmental issues. She is the Executive Director of the Center for Energy Economics and Strategy Studies at the Fudan University. She has consulted for the Shanghai government and National Development and Reform Commission by writing a report on recycling economy and energy conservation.
Professor Wu, thank you very much for joining us on the Main Talk.
Nice to meet you.
Nice meeting you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, as we've seen from the clips earlier, that we've been under the impression that the Chinese fuel economy is somehow insulated from the fluctuations in the crude oil markets internationally. And now, all of a sudden, we're beginning to have this talk about price war. Are we really seeing a move from the old command control economy to a more market economy in the Chinese fuel economy here?
Yeah, actually, the recent pricing war is really pervasive and noticeable. As you may know that since early of 2009, the whole taxation system and the pricing mechanism has been reformed in China. So under such kind of new system, the minimum price control has been eliminated. So this means that any company who wants to extend his market share can use the tool of lower price to compete with other companies. When there's surplus supply, then, which means that the market can become more competitive. For the maximum price also has been lowered. In the formal system, the company can increase the price by 8%, now lowered to 4%. So this means that the monopoly power in the market has been weakened.
For a very long time, that the Chinese industry has seen this cushion, has been cushioned by state regulations from fluctuations in the international oil pricing. Now, why sudden that the release of the control now at this point?
During the 2003 until mid of 2008, the world crude oil price almost increased by 4 times. But if we look at the local market, the gasoline price only doubled. So what's the meaning of this? Which means that actually the government provided great amount of subsidies to the petroleum industries.
Sure.
It's unfair totally. Why? Because such kind of subsidy means a kind of wealth transfer from the public wealth to certain sectors.
Now, let me get it right here. You're saying the subsidy is from the government to the big petroleum companies, retailing companies, i.e. Sinopec and PetroChina. But isn't it true also that small industries, also businesses, including us, the car users, also benefited from the cheap retail gasoline prices, no?
Yeah, that's true. But how about others? How about other sectors? How about the poor populations? They get nothing from this, so it's unfair. So such kind of subsidy not just means a wealth transfer from one department to another department. It means which means that a kind of wealth transfer from one populous group to another.
I see.
And also because now, as you may know, that the crude oil price has decreased to a very low point. It's also very good timing because not only Chinese economy, but also the whole world economy has been slowed down. So it means that even though you release you do the deregulation of the gasoline market, that it will not lead to inflation or the fluctuation or instability with the price. It's very good timing to do that.
Sure. Even given the current price adjustment coming down from the late 2008 level, we are still paying more in retail gasoline than our neighboring countries, for example, Singapore. And in fact, we're still paying more than in the US. Should we, or are we eligible to be complaining about relatively high retail prices here in China?
Yeah, I think that's very popular.
Yes.
You always complain now.
You always want lower prices, but
it's still even higher than US. Why? I should, remind the one point of the audience, and when you compare the price of the gasoline, you have to know that the gasoline in local market is not equal to the gasoline in the international market. The gasoline price in our local market should reflect the local supply and demand.
Okay.
For US also, the gasoline price reflects the US supply and demand. For China, we are in a stage of industrialization. It's kind of very, tight demand. When the price increase, then our domestic market price will increase also simultaneously. It's very natural because you have to import the crude oil. When the price decrease for the local market, if you have enough and sustainable demand, then how can you expect the price fall? It's unreasonable, right? So we always compare the local price directly. We try to link these two prices together, but actually it's not so reasonable.
In terms of the pricing mechanism that we have for retail oil pricing, with the current downward trend for international crude oil prices, are we expecting further price reductions in the retail prices for gasoline and diesel here in China?
First of all, I think I should demonstrate that, just according to my own opinion, that there are still great uncertainties in the world crude oil market.
Sure.
Yeah, like the first months of 2009, actually the oil price has somehow rebounded and then decreased and increased, so fluctuated. So which means that actually in terms of the supply or the demand, there are still great uncertainties. So we cannot expect, such kind of decreasing trend or increasing trend.
We can't play a role in making the decision, but let's try to understand the decision here. So now we understand with the current near about 5.9 or around 6 RMB per litre of gasoline at retail price. How does it break down between crude oil, between refining, distribution and marketing, and taxation?
You can never get any information from the CNPC or CPCC that how about their refinery costs, but we can still do some very simple calculation.
Okay. Yes.
So if we take the retailing price as 4.66 liter per yuan per liter, then for the excise tax almost account for 20% of the total price. And look at the cost of the crude oil. In January, the average price of crude oil is around $42 per barrel. So which means that the average price of the gasoline in January is around 5,440 per ton. So which means that the cost of the crude oil is almost around less than 60%.
I see.
And like the transportation or the profits almost account for 22%, something like that.